If you're right-handed, will you please raise that hand? Thank you. If you're left-handed, will you please raise that hand? Thank you. If you're ambidextrous, will you please raise both hands? You don't have a clue, just sit there. Are you right-footed or left-footed?
Yes.
Different physicians and others will suggest that we have a dominant leg as we do a foot. That's important because today is a day for walking the park. Recently we heard someone talk about this being a Chamber of Commerce kind of day. Isn't this wonderful? March in Texas at its best. Let's go for a walk in the park. Think about the things that make that so pleasant and wonderful, peaceful. The laughter and cheers of children at the playground. A soothing pathway to walk on. Where nothing gets in the way except a little pebble that your trip may try that again, Dale. That's Parker. We'll be back in a minute. A small pebble of rock that your foot will trip on. Or I'll go ahead and introduce the guy because he gets in the way. Parker. I met Parker in 2016. We had a close encounter previously, but the doctor said, it's not Parkinson's, it's an essential tremor. You'll get over it in a hurry, or you'll outgrow it, or you'll just live with it. It was a perfect day for walking the park. And Diane and I had lunch and decided to go do just that, have a walk in the park. It was about 20 degrees cooler there then than it was today, so I needed a jacket. Diane, how's going to get my jacket on? Let's go see the doctor. Some doctor's visits begate other doctor's visits, which begates other doctor visits, and begins to seem like a biblical genealogy. And then there was the news, I want you to have a nuclear MRI. I'm old enough to remember back in the day, we prepared for nuclear attack. Remember that? If you're a student in the state of Texas, you get down under the desk. I never understood why. But this medical diagnostic ruled out everything else but Parkinson's disease. I walked in the park, just got rained on. For several years, I was in great denial. You know, it's not just a river in Egypt. I said, I can live with this, I can live without this, I can live through it. I can learn to manage the uncontrollable. Doesn't that sound impressive? I can manage the uncontrollable. Meet Parker. If you need to get bogged down about Parker's gender, do what you need to do with that. More than gender, I think Parker's a jerk. I get so angry at the disease because it's life diminishing. And there are things that I can't do now that I used to do. Worse than that, there were some things that I was really good at. Thank you, Dr. Schultz, for trying to do another time. A walk in the park. Parker will come alongside. I'm not sure that Parker was mischievous as he's annoying, because she seems to take great joy in tripping me up. Walk in the park, you're concerned about your feet. Your shoes are you right or left-footed? If the weather's like this, it would be great to look forward to a walk in the park in the grass, barefooted. Reconnection with the earth. But the walk in the park means you have to know where your feet are going. To try to explain to you from Parker's perspective, he'll put a lot of thoughts in my mind so that she has me thinking about other things. And I stumbled. I didn't used to keep score, but I have a new rule in my house. If I don't hit the floor, it's not a real fall. may catch something going down that saves the day. I don't think the printer survived. I've also learned from Parker that I don't bounce. I know it looks like I could, probably should. Parker makes me think that each step is critical. Many of you have commented on a walking stick. I have several that I carry. They're not for show. They help keep you steady. I was into my 40s before I realized that not everyone could multitask. When a psychologist friend showed me some studies, put me through some tests just to solve my own curiosity. You really can get more done in less time when you multitask. The flip side is you don't do very well any of it. I did not realize that Parker and I could not multitask together. I could put my mind in gear, say I'm going to walk back to the fireplace, walk up here back here to the front, and then just a few steps, I'd comment to you on the way, how you doing? Or my mind would drift to what traffic's going to be like returning back to Metroplex. Parker demands my full attention. Pick your feet up, put them down. No, off the ground means picking up, off the ground. When I don't do that, I test gravity. It's not how I felt about my retirement years would be. We all have some expectations for that season in our life, be able to do more of what we enjoy doing and have fun with. How do you manage the seemingly uncontrollable? Pearl is my poodle. She couldn't be here today because I wouldn't let her. She doesn't understand why she can't just jump up against me anymore. Weebles wobble, but they don't. Some of these must have come from Parker's history and the way Parker shows Parker herself. If you believe in a supreme being, I invite you to context these next observations in a faith framework. If you don't, then just use your imagination as a frame of reference. I'm enjoying some hobbies. You have some hobbies you enjoy doing? Bob your hand, kitchen, tool bench, something. I like to write. I'm old enough to remember back in the day when we learned cursive. That is an expression in the English language. I collected fountain pens, so the flourish of my emotion could be there, as rather love letter to my wife, or word of encouragement to our children, or hey, I know what you're going through and it really stinks and I'm thinking of you. My handwriting is reduced because of micrographia to hand scratch. I like tooling leather, crafting bookcases, book covers, tray, whatnot holders. Why would you give somebody with trimmers sharp tools? Mm-hmm. Parker does that. Back in the day, I played guitar. If you're in the area, you may remember my band. The Friday evening, Be Home by Midnight, Greater Texas Red Ant Quartet. We had a short but brilliant career. There were 3 of us, which tells you something about our mindset. Just what the world needed is another guitar player or singer. I quit playing because I didn't want to be disappointed by what I could no longer. That's Parker coming in as Elmer Fudd. My contest to that is to slow down my thinking. and make these pregnant, dramatic pauses. Wait for it. And so after a few deep breaths and slowing down, I'll tell you about the guitar. I quit playing because it would be disappointing how I used to sound when I played a guitar. You want proof that my wife is the most patient woman in the world? I have 11 guitars.
Wow.
You can ask me if that makes any sense. No, look, you can.
Does it make any sense?
Hell no. But it's a lot of fun. Each one has its own tune. And one evening I was encouraged by a friend who said, I'm running over and bringing my guitar, get yours out. Now this is a friend who I've also introduced Parker to, so he understands, as best anyone can who lives with Parker. He said, get your guitar out and don't say no. So I had the guitar out, I had a tune when he came. He knew my old playlist. For the younger in the house, that's what you had on it before you had the electronic sequence of music. Your playlist, what you played from. I can't tie my shoes. I can't button the collar buttons on a shirt. Now please hear me, I'm not trying to cry in my coffee. Just to give you an idea of what Parker interrupts. But it's vital I could not do that. I got the guitar in hand, and the chords were there. And the finger picking was there. Then I tried to sing. It wasn't quite there yet. But I thought, how odd. And the doctor and I talked about muscle memory. Parkinson's is a strange disease. There's a core, very small number of common symptoms that are held. And most people, they're outnumbered by unique expressions of the disease. Fatigue. Not the kind of fatigue where you're yawning at the table and you don't want to appear rude to your conversation partner. I'm not the kind of fatigue where you walk and you feel like you're up against the wall without any warning. That's Parker. Sleep that's disrupted every 53 minutes. That's Parker. We got away for a walk in the park, didn't we? Let's go back there because it's a beautiful day. There's a lot more we can say about having something that lets us walk in the park, depressed, to lighten up and be eased. Whatever the weather, we don't have to control it. How do you manage something you can't control? Realize what's not yours to control. When there's an interlude like that, did you hear the music? When there's an interlude like that, instead of being annoyed that it interrupted the sequence of what I'm doing and sharing and being with you, like, that was really cool. That was really God's timing. Go push the button, thank you. With appreciation to Robert Frost, we talk about ways to go. Having told you something about Parker, hear this description of the poet, who I'm convinced knew Parker, knew someone who did. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it was bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other, just as fair. And having perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. From early on in the diagnosis, I decide how I'm going to deal with it. Some days I'm more successful than others. Some days I'm a real jerk. Some days I thank God for the tolerance God gave me. I believe in God. And this point, we're talking about the choices made. And the choice always leaves you wondering because every day is a surprise. And both that morning equally lay in leaves, no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubt if I would ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. That has made all the difference. My favorite parks are in woods, on the edge of it, not in the heart of the forest. I can see it as a challenge that I cannot overcome, or I can see it as a new location to be mindful to be. That's where you begin to manage what you can't control. Are you left-footed or right-footed?
Yes.
Which part of your heart are you going to lead with? Which part are you going to love with? Which part of you are you going to put forward first? Knowing that if you just slow down and be mindful of your steps, you may be just waiting for someone to walk your way.